And that's all I'll say. Now, please, you can say, yes, stay. The Supreme Court should stay.
No, I
Well,
was. I mean, I don't say it like that. But, you know. But I'll say that the problem with the Supreme Court, it's easy to look at the structures and refuse to look at each other. I need us to start looking at our neighbors. I need to start looking at the people that you go in the grocery store with. I need to start looking at people sitting next to you in church. I need you to start looking at, see what I'm saying? Like, these are the people voting for this mess that puts these particular people in place. We can blame the structures all we want, but those are like 4 or 5 steps removed from us, which makes it easier to say, oh, well, I can't do nothing about that. So that's why you end up with people blaming Joe Biden for stuff that is really Congress or stuff that is really their state legislature or stuff that, what I'm saying? Like, because it's so far away that, okay, well, we'll just pick the boss, right? Even though he's not. But we need to look at each other, right? And then also look at these so-called parties, because the parties are corporations that have zero interest in actual people. I remember, I don't think I posted this. I posted it in that chat, Marlon, where I was like, we are in a situation where the Democratic Party says it has to protect the country by defending democracy. And in order to do so, it must deny democracy, right?
Mhm.
So
yeah,
in order for Biden to protect democracy, we have to suspend democracy so no one can contend against him while he goes out to go fight for democracy. And then you have the Republican Party who wants to get rid of democracy, but will use democracy to get there. So, like, the Republican representatives, as horrible as they are actually doing what their voters tell them to do.
Yep.
They're actually doing what their voters say to go do. Democracy. And then they go out there and do something horrible to try to get rid of democracy. That's a problem. The Democrats on the other side are like, don't really like the democracy part for saying who's in charge. But we're gonna protect it though. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. But if we had actual functioning, real, I'm gonna ignore the Republicans for a second, Democratic Party, then they would have already expanded the court or reorganized it. Or made so much noise trying to get it done that it became a front and center situation. We have had Alito and Thomas blasted for rank corruption.
Yep.
And the Democrats have been largely quiet. Right? Least
What
they could
can
do
we
is
do?
make noise and say, you know what?
Hey, that's
We
stupid.
got they've got nine Supreme Court justices. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna expand the court to 15.
15.
But we're gonna keep 9 who sit at any given time. So that means it's a randomized drawing every time it comes down, and it's going to pick a random 9 out of the 15.
But
The
then
only one who will be
you know who's against that?
the Democrats.
No. Yes. I'm like, y'all got to be the dumbest party I have ever heard. Now, you say what you want about third parties, but
you do realize I was sitting over here like really quiet when you were saying that because I was like, didn't the Democrats say they didn't want to do that? So
They don't want to do anything. The Democrats don't want to do anything because they make money. They're basically corrupt mercenaries. They just want to get paid. The Republicans are ideologues who want to destroy everything and send everybody back 50 years. So they're not close comparisons. The Republicans are obviously measurably much worse, but the Democrats are ineffective, lazy, and sorry, right? So thank you for not hitting the gas on the bus headed towards the wall. The Republicans are like leaning into the gas pedal, trying to get the bus to go as fast as it can. Thank you for not being that Democrat. But I'd just be nice if you would reduce speed, turn on your blinker, and make your way over to another lane.
something that's gonna benefit you. Nope, we're gonna be against it.
All right, so it's a darn if you do, darn if you don't type of thing. But it's not. I do reject the thing that when they say Republicans, Democrats are just as bad because they're not. They're not close. But there's a problem here. And so, what are we going to do about it? Are we just going to complain about it? Or are we going to start organizing amongst each other and actually start to move things? Because you got to be able to buy you some politicians. That's what you got to do. Let's just be real about it. You got to be able to buy you some politicians.
Anna, last word.
There's not really a whole lot to.
Joe Manchin didn't even want $2,000 stimulus check in the middle of the pandemic, right when the Democrats took power in 2021. He definitely was never going to make any sort of structural changes to the institution.
That he said that if people get stimulus checks, they're just going to go out and buy drugs.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Twitter.
Like, Joe see, that's the thing. Just because somebody's rocking the jersey, it doesn't mean that they're really on the team. All right. Joe Manchin is a Dixiecrat. He's a Republican in a Democratic uniform. That's all Manchin is. So the Democrats are playing a different type of game. They're playing a corporatist game, and that's why Manchin is there. It's like, it's better for him to be here than over there, because then at least he votes on our side, even though he gives us a hard time every time it's time to vote, right? But yeah, Manchin doesn't want his people. He's one of the richest men in his entire state.
Yeah.
And he doesn't think anybody else deserves to have anything because everybody else isn't. They haven't proven to him that they're smart enough to manage the money.
And will straight up tell you, oh, I got plenty of black friends. It ain't but 5 black people in the whole state of West Virginia. Maybe 6. Maybe.